What if I told you that Marvel Rivals is filled with alternate universes, and that there may be even more waiting to be discovered? From variants of iconic heroes to entire realities colliding, the world of Marvel Rivals is a massive chronoverse built on multiple timelines, each with their own stories, maps, and characters. But what does this all mean? How do these timelines fit together, and what's actually happening behind the chaos? In today's video, we're diving deep into the chronoverse and the main timelines to better understand the world of Marvel Rivals. To understand the timelines of Marvel Rivals, we first need to go back to the very beginning of Season 0. This season marks the moment everything changed. The entire conflict we're playing through can be traced back to the actions of not one, but two versions of Doctor Doom. One from the present day and another from the future. Both of them in their own respective timelines were working towards the same goal: to unify magic and science and seize control of the multiverse itself. Neither Doom was aware of the other's identical ambitions, but when their experiments collided across the time stream, they triggered a catastrophic event known as the time stream entanglement. The time stream entanglement is a rupture that fractured the multiverse, reshaping timelines and forcing realities to overlap in ways they were never meant to. It is the single event that explains why characters from different universes now stand on the same battlefield, and at the heart of it all are two Dooms waging war not only against each other, but against the natural laws of time itself. But it isn't just heroes, Dooms, and worlds caught in the fallout. Watching all of this unfold is Galacta, daughter of Galactus. Unlike her father, she resists consuming worlds, instead feeding on a new element and source of power born from the time stream entanglement, Chronovium. Galacta takes on the role of overseer, similar to that of the Watchers, narrating the battles as they unfold and even preserving a handful of timelines so that reality doesn't collapse entirely. She claims she's leaving the work to the heroes, but she has her own hunger to keep in check, and her actions, whether out of necessity or curiosity, make her just as crucial to this story as the Dooms themselves. Season 0 is the spark that ignited the chronoverse in Marvel Rivals, the beginning of the multiversal war, and it leads us directly into the first of the preserved realities, the primary timeline. When the time stream entanglement tore through reality, it didn't just fracture the multiverse, it created entire new chronoverses. And at the center of this web lies the primary timeline, also known as the present timeline. Think of it as a universe adjacent to Marvel's classic 616 continuity, familiar, yet changed in ways that make it uniquely its own. Despite each chronoverse being separate, the time stream entanglement has caused them to collide and overlap, forming one vast, tangled reality. That's why heroes and locations often appear displaced, suddenly existing in timelines they don't belong to. The present timeline acts as the main stage of Marvel Rivals. It's home to the majority of the game's heroes and locations, though many have been scattered across other universes by the time stream's chaos. From Iron Man and Spider-Man to the Fantastic Four, Blade, Moon Knight, Namor, Cloak and Dagger, and more, many of Marvel Rivals' core heroes originate here. New York City stands at the heart of the primary timeline's chaos. It all began when Doctor Doom visited Doctor Strange at the Sanctum Sanctorum, demanding the Darkhold, the Book of the Damned. Strange refused, hiding the tome within the astral plane, but Doom had already set his plans in motion. In a shocking alliance, Doom and Dracula disrupted the moon's orbit, plunging New York into eternal night. Vampiric hordes flooded the city as heroes like the Avengers, Fantastic Four, Moon Knight, Blade, Spider-Man, and Cloak and Dagger rallied to defend it. Meanwhile, Strange was lost within the astral plane, only to discover Khonshu had seized the Darkhold. Their confrontation culminated in a battle of wits through an ancient game of Senet. Strange triumphed, but Khonshu's last act scattered the Darkhold's pages across the city. The heroes split into factions. Iron Man, Moon Knight, and Khonshu wanted to unleash the Montesi formula to eradicate all vampires, including the innocent ones that had been changed, while Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic, and Scarlet Witch sought to preserve those who could still be saved. As Dracula's forces grew, he seized Central Park and began a dark ritual with the Darkhold itself. Ratatoskr, the squirrel goddess, became the unlikely key to breaking Dracula's supernatural barrier. With her horn forged from Yggdrasil, the heroes breached the castle and defeated Dracula. But this was exactly what Doom wanted, using Dracula's essence to forge pure blood chronovium, advancing his multiversal scheme. The X-Men such as Emma Frost, Magneto, Storm, and Wolverine also come from this timeline. However, when Krakoa and Arakko were thrown through the multiverse, they were displaced into the 2099 Chronoverse, leaving Phoenix as the currently only known member still anchored to the present timeline. The sentient island nation of Krakoa became a refuge for mutant kind, displaced by time, giving mutants the future they had always dreamed of. Magneto, Storm, and Wolverine began gathering mutants scattered across space and time. With the help from an alternate Wanda Maximoff from the Collapse timeline, they enhanced Cerebro to detect mutants across dimensions, opening Krakoa's gates to all mutants, regardless of when or where they originated. Krakoa became more than just a sanctuary, it became the nerve center of mutant kind survival in this fractured multiverse. Meanwhile, Krakoa's sister island, Arakko's structures and ecosystems were merged and torn apart with Krakoa during the time stream entanglement. Though Storm's intervention saved both islands, Arakko's trials were far from over. During Season 2 and 2.5, Ultron invaded the Hellfire Gala, stole Cerebro, and turned Arakko into a cold, mechanical empire. The Iraqi resisted fiercely but were assimilated into his techno-organic domain. Eventually, heroes and mutants joined forces to bring Ultron down, restoring Arakko to its natural state, but the scars of that invasion remain. The Asgardians Loki, Thor, and Hela are part of this reality as well. Following the entanglement, Asgard merged with Yggdrasil, becoming the realm known as Ixgard. Reed Richards himself confirms that Ixgard is a part of the present timeline in his dialogue with Shuri, explaining that the Asgard of his timeline fused with the World Tree during the entanglement. With Odin in his slumber, Loki seized the throne, reshaping the realm to his will. Beside him stood Hela, the Queen of the Dead, extending her dominion into the living world. Their coup was swift and merciless as they claimed the throne and banished Thor into the collapsed Chronoverse, leaving Ixgard under their shared rule. At the heart of this realm lies a new, dangerous power, the temporal sap of Yggdrasil itself, infused with chronal energy. Loki's schemes to harness it remain a looming threat not just to Asgard, but to the entire Chronoverse. As of Season 4 and 4.5's launch, we also learn that Anglea hails from the present timeline. She and the City of Heaven were cast into the Collapse timeline, where they were immediately caught in a demonic war, which we'll get into later. Though important to note, with magic's help, Anglea eventually returns to her universe and begins searching the 9 realms, including Ixgard, for her lost sister, confirming she is from the present timeline. Her quest leads her to Kunlun, revealing that the Heart of Heaven, originally a part of the Collapse timeline, has been displaced into the present timeline, which we'll explain soon enough. All of these threads show how central the present timeline is to the world of Marvel Rivals. It's not just one universe among many, it's the anchor point where displaced heroes, realms, and storylines converge, shaping the ongoing conflict of the Chronoverse. And the last but crucial location in the present timeline, located deep in the frozen south, lies the Hydra Charteris base. Hydra is mining a rare chronal ore known as chronovium, using it to fuel their twisted experiments. But their ultimate goal is far more dangerous, awakening an ancient cosmic entity known as the Hive. By harnessing chronovium's energy, Hydra hopes to build an army capable of conquering not just one timeline, but all timelines simultaneously. The present timeline stands as the narrative anchor of Marvel Rivals. Its heroes, locations, and crises shape the conflicts that ripple across every Chronoverse. But this is only one piece of the puzzle. When Krakoa and Arakko were torn from the time stream, they didn't just vanish. They landed in a future ruled by corporations, cybernetics, and a new breed of heroes and villains. To truly understand the scope of the Chronoverse, we need to journey into the world of tomorrow. The 2099 timeline is more than just an alternate future. It is a reality shaped by the passage of decades and the ripple effects of the time stream entanglement. This chronoverse offers us a glimpse at what awaits Earth's heroes when technology, power, and ambition collide at unprecedented scales. In this future, we find both familiar faces and entirely new forces at play. Heroes like Black Widow, Captain America, Penny Parker, the Punisher, and villains such as Ultron and Doom 2099 call this era home. Even Spider-Man from the present timeline has found himself here, joining Spider-Zero's mission to save the web of life and destiny. Meanwhile, entire locations like Krakoa and Arakko, originally a part of the present timeline, have been displaced into this future due to the time stream entanglement. At the heart of this timeline's conflict lies Tokyo 2099, a futuristic city that has become a nexus for multiple battles. Suspended above the city floats the Spider Islands, the domain of the enigmatic Master Weaver. In the wake of the entanglement, a massive temporal fissure appeared, and Master Weaver seeks to harness its energy to fortify the web of life and destiny. But his methods threaten to destabilize Tokyo and countless lives. His disciple, Spider-Zero, rebels against his dangerous plan, forming a coalition of spider heroes from across the multiverse known as the Web Warriors to stitch the rift closed and restore balance. Meanwhile, on the ground, a different war rages. Doom 2099, the tyrannical ruler of Latveria, has extended his iron grip across the globe. In response, a resistance movement has formed, led by legendary operatives like Black Widow and Punisher. Their fight takes them deep into the heart of Alchemax, where Natasha Romanoff uncovers a shocking discovery: a frozen Captain America, preserved since World War II. It's important to note that this Steve Rogers is not the same one who died in the present timeline, but his re-emergence becomes a rallying point for the Resistance. Their escape from Alchemax causes a chain of events that splinters their forces. Steve is separated during a public eye assault and ultimately finds refuge in the Wakandan embassy with the help of Wolverine, while Natasha tracks down Frank Castle, the Punisher, now operating as a ruthless vigilante in the neon streets of Tokyo, and together they begin to navigate the fractured landscape of this future world. The 2099 timeline is a crucial battleground in the multiversal war. It reflects not just what the world could become, but how fractured futures can create entirely new fronts in the struggle against doom and the collapse of reality. But while 2099 represents a future shaped by technology and ambition, not every timeline is so stable. Some didn't simply fracture or shift, they shattered, becoming volatile patchworks of colliding realities. To truly grasp the scale of the time stream entanglement, we need to step into the next realm where time itself is unstable. If the 2099 timeline represents a glimpse of one possible future, the Mosaic timeline stands as something entirely different, a chaotic melting pot of realities colliding into a single unstable nexus. Officially called the Unstable Space-Time Chronoverse, this timeline doesn't follow one linear history. Instead, it fuses fragments of countless universes, events, and timelines into a tangled cosmic mosaic. Though every chronoverse has a distinct theme, Mosaic focuses heavily on the outer reaches of the Marvel Universe, the vastness of space, ancient cosmic deities, and the looming darkness that has begun to take root among the stars. At the time of this video, few heroes are directly tied to this timeline, but those who are play a crucial role. Among them are Black Panther, Groot, Mantis, Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord, and possibly Adam Warlock. Currently, only a handful of locations from the Mosaic timeline are present in-game, but both carry immense narrative weight: the intergalactic empire of Wakanda and the living symbiote world of Clintar. The intergalactic empire of Wakanda became ensnared by the time stream entanglement when strange anomalies rippled through its vibranium-rich homeworld. The spirit realm of Dajalia began to merge with Byrne and T'Challa, creating a fusion of the spiritual and the physical. While Shuri and her science team investigated Chronovium's effects on vibranium, King T'Challa sought to free Bast, whose essence was trapped within the strange new Chrono-Vibranium statue. Dark omens began to emerge. The goddess Kailulana warned T'Challa of an approaching shadow that had already begun poisoning the Orisha. The darkness was none other than Null, the ancient god of symbiotes. T'Challa's race to liberate Bast became the first step in confronting a cosmic threat unlike any other. This looming darkness emanates from Klyntar, the living prison of Null. Long ago, noble symbiotes rebelled against their creator, binding him within their own merged forms to become the planet Klyntar, meaning literally the cage. But when the time stream entanglement shook the fabric of reality, it stirred Null from his prison. Though weakened, he began spreading corruption through the pantheon of gods, reaching even Bast. Shuri sent the Guardians to investigate, leading to a mission that uncovered the Divine Codex, the corpse of a Celestial, and the awakening of a threat that spanned multiple timelines. In these battles, cosmic forces collided. Bast fled into the divine space, a realm accessible only to beings of immense power. The Phoenix Force, sensing Null's presence, entered this space, clashing with corrupted deities and cleansing them of Null's influence. Meanwhile, Shuri began recruiting warriors across timelines, including Blade, who was still recovering in Wakanda from the Eternal Night in New York, to prepare for the coming war. And when Hela, now named the Queen in Black, aligned herself with Null, the stage was set for a catastrophic confrontation between gods, symbiotes, and cosmic forces. It's here that the true complexity of the time stream entanglement comes into focus. Null's emissaries contact Hela in the present timeline, and Hela opens portals to Klyntar. Though this seems to blur the lines between timelines, it's actually the result of their overlapping realities, colliding into a tangled singularity. This is what makes the mosaic timeline so dangerous. Its instability allows events and entities to spill across chronoverses, breaking the boundaries that once separated them. But even amidst this chaos, the war against Null raged on. With the Phoenix Force intervening and heroes uniting across fractured timelines, the fate of the cosmos was presumably saved as Null was defeated. Though even with Null's defeat in Season 3 and 3.5, there's no telling what other ancient or extraterrestrial threats may be lying in wait within this complex timeline. And as the tangled time stream continues to twist and merge, one chronoverse in particular begins to stir from its ruin. Imagine a universe shattered beyond repair, filled with war, destruction, and tragedy. The dark mirror of what happens when reality itself falls apart. This is the reality of the collapsing timeline. The collapsing timeline isn't just another alternate universe, it's one of the most unstable chronoverses in the entire Marvel Rivals multiverse. A realm caught in the middle of an endless war between divine pantheons, infernal armies, angels, and mortals, all struggling to carve out territory in a reality that was never meant to hold them. A chronoverse where the fabric of reality is constantly being torn apart and stitched back together, usually by force. This universe gained major focus during Season 4 and 4.5, thanks to the arrival of two of its most pivotal heroes, Anglea and Daredevil. This is a world where most heroes are dead, time itself is fractured, and the legendary Heart of Heaven has been ripped out of its proper place and displaced across the chronoverse. Few stories illustrate the scale of this chaos better than that of Anglea, the Angel of Asgard. When the 10th realm of heaven was unmoored from its weakened tether to reality, it was swept into the collapsed timeline, immediately thrust into the heart of the divine demonic war. The skies burned as celestial armies clashed with infernal legions. Anglea and her angelic sisters, trained for glorious war, suddenly found themselves fighting for survival against forces older and more vicious than any they had ever faced. Countless angels fell, including Heaven's Queen, leaving Anglea to take control amidst the chaos. Her story captures the devastation of this timeline. Entire realms uprooted and forced into brutal warfare with no clear end. Only a handful of heroes have survived long enough to become key figures here, each one a powerful variant of a familiar face. Scarlet Witch serves as this universe's sorceress supreme, having taken up the mantle after Doctor Strange's death during the First Demon War. In this reality, Wanda spends every day meditating atop the Wundagore mountain, holding together the magical seams of her collapsing world through raw chaos magic. After Strange's death, Wanda became her world's final line of defense, Her mastery of chaos allowed her to keep the time stream from completely unraveling, but only barely. On the ground, Daredevil's lore paints the picture of a parallel demon war raging in New York. He describes losing everyone he cared about: Foggy, Karen, Luke, Misty, Danny, and even Spider-Man's family during a massive invasion by the Hand, led by the primordial demon the Beast. In desperation, Daredevil descended into hell itself, killed the Beast, and claimed its power as his own, becoming something far more than the man without fear. Through Ying Long, a celestial dragon spirit, he was brought to the 8th city, where he became its protector. But his new role comes with impossible choices, including whether to follow Ying Long's guidance to take the sword of Fu Shi from Iron Fist to unseal the god Chi Yo, a being said to be capable of ending all wars across every timeline, or finding another way to save his collapsing timeline without harming the Iron Fist and risk losing the last bit of everything he holds close. Magik, as the Queen of Limbo, returns from the front lines of a war spanning timelines, gods, and demons. Her encounters with other survivors, including Wanda, reveal just how widespread and devastating the time stream entanglement has become, and that even the mightiest sorcerers and mutants are being drawn into the fight to save reality itself. Other survivors of this timeline include Bruce Banner, Hulk, and Iron Fist, each shaped by the brutal conflicts of their home reality. Kunlun is the only known surviving location from this universe at the time of this video, fused into the center of the heart of heaven during the time stream entanglement. When the distortions rippled across dimensions, the 7 capital cities were forced out of isolation, displaced across the Chronoverse, and Kunlun became a central beacon as the 7 capital cities and the 8th city prematurely merged into the heart of heaven. With the guardian dragon Shoutout trapped in eternal slumber, the city was left vulnerable, drawing the attention of Dr. Doom, who challenged Iron Fist's legitimacy and sought to steal Shoutout's chi for his own ends. At the same time, the Tournament of Heaven brought immortal beasts and their champions from across the 7 capital cities to Kunlun, each vying for supremacy while navigating shifting alliances and betrayals, making the city a crucible of power, strategy, and survival. In Season 4 and 4.5, Iron Fist and his allies were forced to defend not only the city and its sacred chi, but also the integrity of the tournament itself, all while balancing threats from Doom, rival beasts, and the lingering chaos of the time stream entanglement. Kunlun's struggles illustrate how even sacred traditions and legendary guardians are twisted by war and temporal instability, with every battle carrying consequences that could ripple across all displaced realities. The collapsed timeline became a crucible for displaced heroes, villains, and civilizations alike, a convergence point where ancient pantheons battled demonic hordes and the seams of reality strained under the weight of paradoxes. Landscapes were stitched together by unstable chronal fractures, creating warped battlegrounds where time and space twisted unpredictably. And though this timeline teetered constantly on the brink of annihilation, its echoes would not remain confined. The chaos born here would ripple outward, leaving a lasting mark on the timelines that followed. But not every hero in Marvel Rivals hails from one of the 4 major chronoverses. Some arrive from timelines that exist on the edge of the time stream entanglement, unique realities within their own histories, mythologies, and mysteries. Others have origins so deeply fractured that not even they remember where they came from. These are the wanderers between worlds, the anomalies whose very presence hints that the multiverse is far vaster than just the chronoverses we know. Psy stands as one of the clearest examples of this, an alternate version of Psylock originating from Earth 42121, also known as the Momoko-verse. She comes from a feudal Japan-inspired reality shaped by artist Peach Momoko's Demon Days saga. In her timeline, Psy is a wandering mercenary who battles yokai and oni, aided by her loyal wolf companion Logan. Her lore references legendary figures like Hulkmaru, an Oni like Hulk, and the defeat of Yamata no Orochi, a monstrous Venom variant. This confirms that Marvel rival Psylock is indeed the Momoko-verse version of the character, brought into the wider multiverse when she is captured and displayed as a living exhibit by the Collector before eventually escaping alongside Mantis and Jeff. Venom, by contrast, is a mystery even to himself. When his reality collapsed, the Clintar hive mind overloaded Eddie Brock's mind, leaving both host and symbiote disoriented. He was first encountered during the Demon Wars of the collapsing timeline, where he fought alongside Magic, who ultimately helped him travel to Clintar in the Mosaic timeline. Beyond that, Venom's past is fragmented. We know only that his hive mind sent him a warning. Null had awakened, and that Venom's journey to find the all-black Necro Sword began here. Which universe he originally came from, however, remains a blank space on the multiversal map. Jeff the Landshark is another anomaly. His lore describes how he was suddenly plucked from a carefree day at the California coast with Gwenpool and placed into the Collector's vast menagerie. He remembers his friends Gwenpool, Kate Bishop, Deadpool, but not the moment of his abduction. His timeline is assumed to be close to the present timeline, but without the lore of those connected characters, Jeff's true origin remains unconfirmed. Finally, there's Adam Warlock. While his story intertwines with the Mosaic timeline, his cosmic journey suggests he may not have originated there. Encased in his cocoon as the entanglement began, Adam drifted through multiple realities, communicating telepathically with Odin, encountering Bast of the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, and even sensing a fallen celestial before arriving on Clintar. His path reads less like a simple migration and more like a cosmic odyssey through collapsing chronoverses, leaving his exact point of origin deliberately ambiguous. These characters, Psy, Venom, Jeff, and Adam, embody the vast unknown corners of the multiverse. Some are clearly marked on the timeline, others are riddles waiting to be solved, but each one hints that beyond the major chronoverses, there are still countless timelines waiting to be discovered. While not part of a single established universe like the main Marvel Comics or MCU, cosmetic variants in Marvel Rivals are deliberately rooted in Marvel's lore. The developers have confirmed that every skin, even original designs, is treated as a multiversal variant, complete with a backstory and narrative justification. These aren't just outfits, they're glimpses into alternate timelines and universes pulled into the fight by the time stream entanglement. In an interview with IGN, the devs explained that Marvel oversees every step of skin production, from mood boards to final animation, ensuring each design aligns with the hero's character and established lore. Even original skins are written with origins that fit within the game's multiversal narratives. So when you equip something like the 1872 Rocket cosmetic, you're not just changing costumes, you're actually playing as that variant of Rocket who found his way into the conflict alongside other displaced heroes. Several cosmetic lines already hint at these alternate universes. The Immortal Dragon line draws from Kunlun-centered timelines, likely connected to the collapsing timeline or a Kunlun adjacent reality. The 2099 line features both classic and original variants from the future. The 1872 line pulls from the Western-themed Marvel Universe from Earth 51920, while Peach Momoko's Demon Days brings in designs from Earth 42121. Even the MCU cosmetics confirm that cinematic variants are not immune to the time stream's pull. Beyond themed series, there are also individual standalone variants like All Butcher Loki, President Loki, Negative Zone Human Torch, Weapon X Wolverine, and many more, each referencing specific storylines or comic issues. On the other hand, some cosmetic lines actually represent the evolving story of the Marvel Rivals universe and variants itself, like the Gothic Return skins from Season 1, Hellfire Gala skins from Season 2, Ultron Virus conversions in Season 2.5, the Phoenix Force and Clintar Warriors who opposed Null in Season 3 and 3.5, and the Immortal Weapons of Season 4 and 4.5. These cosmetics are more so examples of the Marvel Rivals variants changing throughout the story, even if they originate from a comic origin. Cosmetic variants essentially function as windows into countless unseen chronoverses. Some may hint at timelines that could one day appear in the game, while others solidify in-universe events and evolutions. They blur the line between gameplay customization and narrative expansion, a clever way of seeding future storylines and keeping players theorizing about what's next. So there you have it. Across these fractured timelines, we've seen heroes rise, fall, and collide in ways the multiverse has never witnessed before. Each chronoverse tells a piece of a much larger story, a story shaped by the time stream entanglement and by the countless choices and battles of those caught within it. But what makes Marvel Rivals so unique is how these timelines aren't just parallel, they're converging, colliding like threads in a cosmic web, forcing heroes and villains to reckon not only with their enemies, but with other versions of themselves, and realities that were never meant to coexist. And beyond the main chronoverses, even cosmetic variants open windows to countless unseen realities, hinting at future stories waiting to be told. But this is only the beginning. Ancient forces are stirring, fractured histories are being rewritten, and somewhere deep within the time stream, new timelines are waiting to emerge. But let me ask you, what do you think about these timelines? Which chronoverses are your favorite, and what kind of timelines would you want to see introduced in the future? If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Seriously, I read a lot of lore for this video. Please like and subscribe so I can make more content for you. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time, out there in the multiverse.